Hi and welcome to Reiki Level 1, the first degree. It's my great pleasure to be delivering this presentation for you today. And in this series there are 3 main videos focusing on the power of Reiki, the universal life energy. And in this video we'll be talking about core Reiki concepts and we'll be deep diving into Reiki Level 1. And from there, in the following videos, we'll be talking about Reiki Level 2 and Reiki Level 3. And we'll be going into a lot of detail so that you're ready to self-heal and channel Reiki for the greatest, highest good of others. And to help you learn, throughout each video, you will find images that represent each step, each gesture, each position, and each symbol used throughout each level of Reiki. This is going to be an incredibly insightful, enlightening, and valuable video series, and I know that you'll get a lot of practical information that you can use in your daily life that will not only help heal you, but also the ones you love and those who seek to experience the incredible power of Reiki. So the obvious first question to answer is, what is Reiki? Well, Reiki has been described as being similar to radio waves. Now, you and I cannot see these radio waves, but we know they're there. And we know they are because we experience them as sound coming through our speakers. And another way to visualize this is to think about those bumper cars you see at fun parks. You know, the ones with the long pole pointing up at the back? Now, when that pole touches the electrified wire mesh grid above the car, that energy is transferred to the bumper car and powers it forward. Now, even though anyone can access Reiki, first you need to be tuned into it, very much like a radio. And once that's happened, Reiki, in its purest form, will be available to you forever. And to further explain Reiki, it's important to start with a short backstory to give you some deeper insight into its history. Now, Reiki, spelled R-E-I-K-I, is a natural form of healing that you can use, in fact anyone can use, that channels energy through your hands. And its origins actually stem from India and the East, and it was used widely by ancient Eastern cultures to heal. And it actually predates both Buddha and Christ. You see, Reiki, or in other words the universal life force, is an ancient power source. And the name Reiki, which is pronounced Reiki, comes from the combination of 2 separate words. Firstly, Rei, which means universal, and Ki, which means vital, or life force energy, which is energy that can be activated for the purpose of healing. Now, it doesn't matter who you are, or where you are, or even how old you are. Everyone can channel Reiki once they've been trained and have gone through a process called an attunement. Now, an attunement is an incredibly powerful spiritual experience where a student learning Reiki has the universal energy channeled into their body, their mind and their spirit by their Reiki master. And this process is guided entirely by what is called Rei, or in other words, the God consciousness. Now, Reiki has the wonderful effect of leaving you feeling healthy, full of enthusiasm, and your body full of vitality. And when you have what is called Ki flowing throughout your body becomes highly energized. Now, Ki is the very essence of your soul. And when you get to the end of your time on earth, it actually leaves your body and returns to the source, which is the universal energy. Reiki is all around us, and it flows through us. It's a life force that's omnipresent, in that it exists in sunlight, in air, water, and the foods we eat. It is pure, unconditional love and joy. And the best part about Reiki is that it's easy to learn, easy to apply, and it brings your mind, body, and spirit back into balance. And with that, there's a quote that I'd like to share with you. Reiki is the greatest single secret in the science of energies. And that was from Madame Hawayo Takata herself, who was instrumental in sharing Reiki with the world. And I'll talk more about that in a little while. Now, when we were children, each of us had this innate ability to channel Reiki naturally, because we were more open to it. But as we grew older, we began to close our minds to this amazing healing power that Reiki offers. And this is actually a good thing for you to know, because it gives you the opportunity to reset and reopen your mind and begin to let Reiki back into your life. Now, think back to the last time you enjoyed the sensation of touch to soothe, to comfort, or heal you. Do you remember how that felt? And did it feel good? See, this is the essence of what it is to be connected to Reiki, the universal life force. And with attunement, not only will you have a direct link to that pure healing energy, you'll be able to channel it to heal yourself and those you love. Reiki is such a wonderful energy. It can be used for so many things. We can use it to aid meditation, and we can use it to calm our busy mind, and we can also use it to help us relax. And Reiki has an incredible ability to reduce our anxiety and our tension, and it acts on all levels: the physical, the mental, emotional, and spiritual. And another great thing about Reiki is that it empowers you to help heal yourself, no matter your situation. And once you access Reiki energy, you'll begin to trust not only yourself more, but the wider universe as a whole. Now, at Reiki level 1, which is also referred to as the first degree, at this level, your training will open up your personal energy channel and will allow you to channel Reiki mostly on the physical level. And you'll be able to do this for yourself and for others. Now at level 1, this is where you receive a permanent attunement to what is called the Reiki ray. And in essence, this is where you get to learn the laying of the hands technique. You are introduced to intentional living and about self-healing. And once you have successfully completed your first degree attunement, using the well-known Usui Tibetan system, oftentimes you, as the student, may experience new sensations, mainly on your hands. And this is nothing to be alarmed about. In fact, this is an exciting time for you, and it's an experience to embrace. Now, you might notice these sensations happening in your hands a number of ways. You might experience increased temperature, a feeling of coolness, there can be tickling, itchiness, or just a strange feeling in general on your hands. Now, this can happen instantaneously following the attunement, and it can also take some time for the energy to begin flowing, and this all depends on the student. And at this level, the first degree, anyone can access it. It's open to anyone. At level 1, there's no need for any previous experience, and no preparation is required to make a start. And for a level 1 student, it usually takes about 2 days to learn. This is that magical moment where existing energy blocks are finally released, resulting in a cascading balancing and harmonization of each of your major energy centers, your chakras, of which I talk about in detail in a little while. And during this foundational stage, the initiation opens your central energy channel leading from the crown of your head to the bottom of your spine. At this pivotal stage, as the student, you will be permanently connected to the universal energy, thus allowing you to channel this amazing, powerful healing Reiki energy. So now you know what Reiki is. You might be wondering, who is Reiki for? Well, Reiki is there for everyone to benefit from. It's a universally available resource that can be beneficial for people, plants, animals, water, food, almost anything you can think of. And in fact, Reiki energy is inside each of us. It's a part of us, and it moves as one with us throughout our lives. Now, there are some important things to know about accessing the universal life force. And one is that it can be disrupted and severely weakened through the consumption of too much alcohol, a poor diet, lack of exercise, drugs, tobacco, negative habits, and stress. Additionally, this life force can also be affected by poor breathing habits, a lack of sleep, and negative psychic activity. So it follows that for you to get the most benefit from Reiki, you must make sure that on balance, that you're living as healthy a life as possible to maximize its effects. Now, if you look around, what do you see in our society? You see a lot of hollow souls that appear focused on shallow pursuits, and usually at the cost of their own chi, in other words, their life force. They're stuck in negative mental and physical behavioral patterns that leave them without meaning and unable to show their true character. And this is where Reiki can be transformational for those people. It redefines your life entirely, and it realigns you with your life's true purpose and meaning. And what you find is that when you adopt Reiki in your everyday life, you begin to gain a new level of wisdom, and you find that you grow physically, mentally, and spiritually. And as a side product of your personal growth, you naturally become happier and your life becomes more fulfilling, which is a wonderful gift to receive. Okay, let's ask a few more questions. Where did Reiki actually begin? Who discovered it? And how did it become to be what it is today? So, its history stems back many thousands of years. Now, early on, Reiki became known through word of mouth. People tried it, they experienced it, they took a lot of value from their experience, and the word got around about its many virtues. Now, it was an early pioneer, a Dr. Usui, who rediscovered Reiki in the mid-19th century. Dr. Usui was born in Japan, and his family actually practiced Buddhism. And the story of how he came to rediscover Reiki is a fascinating one. See, one day Dr. Usui was asked by a student of his to explain how Jesus performed healing miracles and why he couldn't do the same. Now, this question stumped Dr. Usui so much that he actually left his position as the head of a Christian seminary in Kyoto, Japan, to search for that answer. And this quest took Dr. Usui on a worldwide tour spanning more than a decade. It saw him travel the United States of America, the Far East, India, and finally Tibet. And it was in Tibet that he found and read the ancient sutras that contained the exact description of the methods, symbols, and formulas Buddha used to heal people, and it described in great detail how they are passed on to others. And when Dr. Usui found this information, not only was he incredibly excited, but he was also frustrated by the lack of evidence that proved that he could actually use this newfound knowledge to heal people. And this is where Dr. Usui began his now famous quest into a holy mountain to pray and to fast for 21 days. And on the 21st day, it is said that a bright ray of light came down to him from above, struck him on his crown chakra, and filled him with renewed strength and an abundance of vitality. And as this was happening, he began to see the same symbols he had already encountered in the ancient texts. And these symbols were shrouded in what looked like shining balls of energy. And from that day on, they imprinted themselves into his mind for all time, and activated his access to Reiki, the universal life energy. Now, on his way back down the mountain, Dr. Usui actually had a fall and injured himself quite badly. So, trying out his newfound powers, he found that they worked immediately. And before long, he was in front of people with ailments of all sorts, healing them, soothing them, and giving them relief through the sharing of the universal life energy. And here's the profound part to this story. You see, after spending time healing for several years, he realized that many of the same people he had actually healed were returning to being beggars, saying things like it was easier to live that way. And what he realized was that by giving Reiki away, he had healed only their bodies, but not their minds and their souls. You see, the problem was that the receiver had no obligation to take any responsibility for their healing whatsoever, and thus they did not value this incredibly valuable gift they'd received from Dr. Usui. And it was then that Dr. Usui experienced another vision, in which he was given the principles for Reiki, and they go like this: just for today, do not worry. Just for today, do not anger. Honor your parents, teachers, and elders. Earn your living honestly, and show your gratitude to every living thing. Now, shortly after this, Dr. Usui began carrying a torch up and down the streets of Kyoto where he lived. And when asked why he was doing this, he answered by saying that he was searching for people with a heart full of love, but who were sad and sorrowful because they didn't know the true light but longed to be healed. And it was in this way Dr. Usui began teaching Reiki principles. Now, after many years teaching these principles, Dr. Usui died. But before doing so, he'd passed on all of his knowledge and his wisdom to a Dr. Chujiro Hayashi, who was a retired naval officer. And Dr. Hayashi actually went on to found the first Reiki clinic, and he was credited for systematizing Reiki training and for optimizing the different forms of Reiki treatment. Now from there, it was a Madam Hawaii Takata who brought Reiki to the East. Now she was actually cured from many illnesses through her experience with Reiki, and she decided that she too would become a devoted Reiki student. Now at this time, it was actually forbidden for a woman to practice Reiki, and it took a lot of convincing Dr. Hayashi that she would make a good practitioner. So as it goes, he finally agreed to teach her up to the second level. Now fast forward to 1938, and war was about to break out, and it was now that Dr. Hayashi could see the writing on the wall. Reiki would die out if it wasn't practiced in other countries. So he went to visit Madame Takata and initiated her to the final master level and made her the Grand Master. And from that point on, Madame Takata became known as the 20th century Grand Reiki Master. Now by the time she died in 1980, she had initiated more than 20 masters and left her granddaughter, Phyllis Furumoto, as the Grand Master. Now since then, the number of masters has grown exponentially, and Reiki has become an accepted and revered method of healing worldwide. Now, although we go into much greater detail throughout each video in this series, I want to share some more important insights into how Reiki works. Now, Reiki flows through human beings, animals, and living matter. Every living thing in the universe is connected through it. And putting theory aside for one moment, the one and only real way to understand Reiki and how it works is to experience it for yourself. It really is a transformational experience. And here's the thing. We are all essentially unaware of its presence until we make contact with it through training and a series of purposeful attunements. And here's something else that's interesting that up until now you probably didn't realize. And that is that we all have access to Reiki, and we all use it each day without even knowing it. This wonderful universal energy flows through us at the unconscious level. Now, there's two sides to Reiki, sending and channeling it, and receiving and drawing it. And the best part about Reiki is that it's completely free and available to us in unlimited supply. Now, as humans, each of us are made up of trillions of cells, and those cells make up our genetic structure. And Reiki, the universal life energy, works at the cellular level to stimulate our growth, heal us, and give us life. Now, when a person is receiving Reiki, which is referred to as a treatment, they take only the amount of Reiki energy that they need. So this means that it's impossible to get too much Reiki. Now, during a treatment, this isn't happening on the conscious level. It's happening on a higher level, a level that knows what's best for you. And importantly, a person who's channeling Reiki doesn't cure the person being treated. The person receiving the Reiki is actually curing themselves. See, Reiki is self-regulating, and this is because its energy is not being directed by the person who is channeling the energy. Thus, they cannot use it to cause any harm. And another amazing fact about Reiki is that this universal life energy can be sent and received from anyone to anyone wherever they may be. And here's another amazing fact about it. Reiki can actually be programmed to be received at a predetermined time in the future. Reiki truly is a thing of beauty, and because its supply is limitless and so abundant, when it's channeled, this has no impact on the amount that can be accessed. Its supply is endless and plentiful. Now, to share a deeper understanding, I want to dedicate this next few minutes to learning about the importance of what are known as chakras. See, Reiki is used to heal, and when providing a treatment to someone, the focus is on rebalancing the mind, body and spirit, and to stimulate the immune system and remove toxins in your glands, your organs, and to remove blockages in the main energy centers that are found throughout the body. And these are called your chakras. And these chakras include the root chakra, which represents our foundation and feeling of being grounded, and this is located at the base of your spine. Then we have our sacral chakra, which represents our connection and ability to accept others and new experiences. And this chakra is located in your lower abdomen. Then there's the solar plexus chakra, which represents our ability to be confident and in control of our lives. And this chakra is located in our upper abdomen in the stomach area. Now our next chakra, our heart chakra, represents our ability to love. And this is located in the center of our chest, just around your heart. And then we have our throat chakra, which represents our ability to communicate. And this is located in the throat area. And now we move on to our third eye chakra, and this chakra gives us our ability to focus and see the bigger picture. And this chakra is located on the forehead between the eyes. And last but in no way the least is our crown chakra, which is the highest chakra, and it represents our ability to be fully connected spiritually. Okay, now that we know a little bit more about chakras, and we go even deeper into them later in the program, let's now talk about the 5 Reiki principles that are used to guide your use of the universal life energy. And they are: just for today, I will not worry. Just for today, I will not be angry. Just for today, I will do my work honestly. Just for today, I will give thanks for my many blessings. Just for today, I will be kind to every living thing. And the thing here is to recognize something profound. As spiritual ideas, we are acknowledging that just for today, we are all imperfect. Now, this mantra is something that you should read aloud at least twice a day, and coupled with meditation, it will unlock the meaning of these 5 principles. So let's explore each of these 5 principles. First off, just for today, I will not worry. Now, we won't waste time worrying because it goes hand in hand with stress and anxiety, and this we can do without. Whereas on the other hand, laughter is a wonderful healer. So the focus here is on positivity and being cheerful, because after all, life's way too short to waste worrying. And for this principle to flow Reiki through to your affected chakra, you place one hand over your heart, which is chakra number 4, and your other hand at your root chakra, chakra number 1. Okay, now, principle number 2. Just for today, I will not be angry. Now, I think we can all raise our hands if we've ever felt anger. It's a powerful emotion and its strength can blind us. And when it happens, we seem to lose all control of ourselves, which is never healthy for us or those around us who see us in this state. So the takeaway here is to be able to recognize what triggers us and move quickly to avoid those trigger events at all cost. Now, taking back control of your emotions is never easy, but you do have the power, and you are in control of how you respond in those situations. Every time you meet or chat with someone, and it doesn't matter who it is, there's an exchange of energy. And the trick here is not to let them steal your energy by provoking an angry response from you for whatever reason. This emotion, the anger that you feel, is controllable. It's a choice that you get to make. And when you choose to avoid anger altogether, then you're choosing to live a healthier life free from that anger. And for this principle to flow Reiki through your affected chakra, you place one hand over your third eye, chakra number 6, and you place your other hand over your root chakra, chakra number 1. Now let's take a look at principle number 3. Just for today, I will do my work honestly. Honesty means different things to different people, and this is all about reducing dishonesty by living with integrity and through being responsible for your actions. And hey, at times we've all been dishonest, even if it's just white lies, they're still lies. And in life, which is short and precious, you want to avoid every type of lie, or you might just end up getting caught in one. And for this principle to flow Reiki through your affected chakra, you place one hand over your third eye, chakra number 6, and you place your other hand over your solar chakra, chakra number 3. Moving right along. Let's now take a look at principle number 4. Just for today, I will give thanks for my many blessings. So if we stop for a second, there's really so much to be thankful for. And karmically, we receive what we need to grow and learn in this lifetime. So throughout our lives, it's important to recognize and appreciate the many blessings we experience. And for this principle, to flow Reiki through your affected chakra, you place one hand over your third eye, chakra number 6, and you place your other hand over your crown chakra, chakra number 7. And next up, we have principle number 5. Just for today, I will be kind to my neighbour and every living thing. Now this one might be challenging, and who knows, you might have a situation where you don't think you can be kind to anyone. And if this is the case, then I say this to you: we all live as one with karma, and as the saying goes, what goes around comes around. Now there's two edges to this sword, and by living in kindness to everyone and everything, your actions will be ultimately reflected in the actions of those around you. And for this principle, to flow Reiki through your affected chakra, you place one hand over your third eye, chakra number 6, and you place your other hand over your throat chakra, chakra number 5. Alternatively, you can place one hand over chakra number 4, your heart chakra, and your other hand over your root chakra, chakra number 1. Now, it's important to remember that these principles are only guides for a happier and more fulfilling life. And to further boost the effects these principles can have, couple them with what you have learned here with meditation to unlock the true meaning of these rules, and be sure to incorporate them into every aspect of your life. This is a gift of wisdom passed down from the ages, and it's just too powerful to ignore. Alright, now in this section we're going to take a closer look at what you need to do to prepare for Reiki. And I think it's appropriate to ask you a question. What path are you on? And I ask because we all have a path, and we're all on that path, rightly or wrongly, as we move towards whatever it is we desire in life. Now, people are drawn to Reiki for one reason or another. And here's the thing about that Reiki draws you to itself. It knows when you need it, and it shows up exactly when and where you need it, and in just the right quantity. Now, in preparing for Reiki to arrive, you must go through what is referred to as an initiation ceremony. And in preparing for your initiation ceremony, there are a few important things that you need to do. The first is to avoid drugs and alcohol for at least 48 hours leading up to the ceremony. Other things to avoid include meat, fish, processed junk foods, again for at least 48 hours leading up to the ceremony. And the reason for this is because the digestion of food takes a lot of energy that you are going to need for your initiation. Okay, now on the morning of your ceremony, make sure you get up earlier than normal so that you can mentally prepare for this experience. And during your initiation ceremony, your Reiki master will use ancient symbols and mantras to open up your energy channels so Reiki energy can flow freely through you. And from here, we enter an incredibly important phase. This is the point in time where you will commence a 21-day cycle of cleansing and detoxification. And the reason this is so important is because it will make all the difference in how you heal and the rate at which that healing occurs. And it's also a time of self-discovery. It will help you physically, emotionally, and spiritually, and it will prepare you on your way to healing. Now, during the first 21 days after your attunement, your body will cleanse itself on all levels, mentally, spiritually, physically, and on the emotional level. And during this time, self-healing is incredibly important, as it will remove negative traumas accumulated in your body that have collected throughout your lifetime. As you work through this time, you will find that the negative impacts of trauma, regardless of what that trauma was, will dissipate on your mental, spiritual, physical, and emotional levels. And given the amount of energy flowing through you at this time, it is important to focus on getting as much rest as possible and making sure to hydrate with water to assist your healing. And another important thing about the cleansing process is that your body is new to the additional energy that is now flowing through you. And the 21-day cleanse will help your body adjust to this new energy much faster and easier. And what you experience during this time depends on your personal mindset, your spiritual connection, and your physical condition and emotional state. And if you're feeling a little apprehensive about the cleanse, don't be. This experience is the beginning of an amazing journey for you into a life full of vitality and joy. So here's a few things to think about as you go through your cleanse. Are you eating healthy foods? Are you drinking enough water? Are you cutting down on coffee, alcohol, and cigarettes? Are you getting enough rest? Are you taking action to reduce your stress levels? And importantly, are you thinking positively about your life in general? Okay, now as you begin your Reiki journey, you will begin to experience new things on a physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual level. And this is where keeping a journal of your lucid dreams will help you track your progress. It's so powerful to be able to retrace your dreams from the time you began your Reiki journey, as they give you insights into your existence. So I recommend that you begin keeping a dream journal as soon as you begin. Keep it by your bed, and as soon as you wake and you can recall your dream, write it down. Now, to help you uncover the deeper meaning of your dreams, I suggest getting access to a book authored by a gentleman named Dr. Fritz Perls, and he wrote the book called Dreamwork. And in this book, Dr. Perls talks about the power that our dreams have and how every aspect of your dreams represent an aspect of yourself. And in this book, Dr. Perl talks about the uniqueness of your dreams. They are unique to you, and in order for you to grow, you must retell your dreams in your dream journal in the present tense and act it out. And a big part of this is to actually capture and even verbalize how each part of your dream made you feel. And by doing this, you can begin to acknowledge and realize the feelings that you have overlooked or kept locked away, so you can, once and for all, move forward. It's a fascinating book and I highly recommend it. Now, another powerful process you should learn about more is the importance of focus. And in fact, there is a complete psychotherapeutic process that was discovered by Professor Eugene Gendlin on this topic. Now, this process works in tune with Reiki extremely well, as it involves maintaining an open-minded and a non-judgmental state of attention to what is referred to as an internal knowing, which is directly experienced but is not yet expressed in words. And the benefits of this process are that you can use it to become clear on what you feel or want, and you can obtain new insights into your situation, and most importantly, it assists in stimulating change and healing of the situation that you're facing. Now, before we move into the more practical steps associated with Reiki Level 1, there are some rules around the use of this powerful and ancient energy. And after you have been trained and you begin practicing Reiki, the first thing you must do before channeling this powerful energy is to first seek consent from the person you intend to send it to. It's so important to make the person aware of the energy you are about to share with them, and doing this will also help them become more receptive to its healing abilities. We must first ask to be healed before healing can occur, and this is where we focus on our own vibrations in the universe, and where we open up ourselves at our throat level. This is where we audibly vocalize by saying, I want to change where I am. I want to alter my state of existence. And by doing this, you are asking the universal energy to open itself up to you and make itself available for your use. And you are doing all of this on the conscious level, which coincidentally, you can also make this request on a soul level as well. And in fact, this is really where you're asking for the healing to occur. See, the thing is, as a Reiki channel, you are essentially acting as a conduit through which universal energy flows, and it is essential to listen and render services to the request of the soul. For healing to be effective, there needs to be a balanced exchange between the sender and recipient of the healing energy. Now, this may come about from the exchange of value we refer to as money in return for services between the sender and receiver. Okay, so let's talk more about attunements. What are they? How do they work? And why are they an important part of Reiki? Now, attunements are an integral part of Reiki, as they act as the switch that turns on that extra surge of power that's fueling your life. And the great part about that power is that the more that you use that power, the stronger it flows through you. Now, when we access Reiki, the universal life energy, we never send it per se. It is always drawn through a channel, and the more we access it, the more we come to experience a well-balanced life. So when your attunement has completed and the universal life energy is flowing through you, there are an endless number of ways that you can use Reiki. See, the beautiful thing about Reiki is that its benefits are limited only by your imagination. And in knowing that Reiki can be used on almost anything you can imagine, it follows that Reiki goes where the body requires healing, and it does this on its own. Okay, here's how the process of attunement is performed. You first start by simply placing your hands on the body and channel the energy. From there, Reiki does the rest. And when performing an attunement, it will work on the affected parts of the anatomy, the major organs, the lymphatic system, and also the endocrine system. And it is really quite quick at treating specific problems that it encounters during the session. Now it's time for a bit of an anatomy lesson, and I specifically want to talk about the endocrine system. Now this system, your endocrine system, includes all of the glands in your body that produces hormones. And these hormones are important as they help make sure that your body works the way it should. Now, as for the lymphatic system, this particular system is made up of a series of tubes that run throughout your body. And the purpose of the lymphatic system is to act as a network of vessels through which lymph drains from the tissues into your blood. Your lymph plays an important part in maintaining the health of your body's immune system and in absorbing fats from your intestines. Now, when we stop and think about all of these amazing systems operating inside us, when Reiki is also applied to your system, it works together in harmony with your endocrine system, your lymphatic system, and your nervous system to return your body to a well-balanced state. And it helps to regulate your metabolic activities and maintain what is called homeostasis. Or in other words, it maintains a stable equilibrium between the interdependent physiological parts of your body. Okay, at level 1, the first degree. Following your attunement, you can begin working with Reiki. This is an incredibly exciting time, a time to observe changes, and a time to begin performing self-treatments using your newfound energy source. The golden rule here is that you must focus on practicing self-treatment first. Get really good at it, understand how it feels to self-treat, and once you have achieved a level that you feel comfortable with, then you can move on to healing others around you. You can work on anyone you choose, family, friends, pets, whomever you like. And another good way to look at practicing self-treatment is to view it as your apprenticeship. And like anything, every apprentice must learn and practice before they can truly master their craft. And Reiki self-healing is no different. This takes time and it takes practice, and I suggest that at level 1 that you practice self-healing for a minimum of 6 up to 12 months. And let Reiki guide you as to how much time you invest in practicing self-healing. It's so important to recognize just how powerful self-healing is. It's the gateway to Reiki, and it's always going to be your best companion. Now let's move into more practical applications for self-healing. Now use this information as a guide for the placement of your hands. There are no right or wrong hand positions. And this is where, with practice, you will become aware of where your hand should be placed as you become more experienced. So let's run through some of the most commonly used hand positions, starting with hand position number 1. Now this is where you take your hands and cup them, as you can see on the screen. With your cupped hands, you place them gently over your eyes, your cheekbones, and your forehead, which is your third eye chakra we talked about earlier. And with hand position 2, you place your hands on the top of your head with your fingertips touching your crown chakra. With hand position 3, you place your hands either side of your head with your fingers covering your temples. And next, with hand position 4, place your hands on the back of your head, making sure to cover the occipital ridge, which is the region at the back of your head where the base of your skull meets your spine. Now moving on to hand position 5, place your hands so they are covering your shoulders and the bottom of your neck. Then, for hand position 6, place your hands around your neck with the heels covering your throat chakra. And for hand position 7, make your hands form a capital T, and you do this by placing your left hand so it covers your heart, over your heart chakra, and you place your other hand, your right hand, over your thymus gland, which is located between your chest. Moving forward, for hand positions 8, 9, 10 and 11, make sure your hands are positioned horizontally at the top of your torso and making sure that you're touching with your fingertips. From there, move your hands down as shown until finally ending in a V shape inside your hip bone. Okay, let's now take a look at hand position 12 and 13. And here you want to place your hands over the front of your knees and behind the back of your knees. Moving forward to hand position 14, 15, 16 and 17. And here you want to place your hands first on the top of your shoulders and then gradually move them down horizontally across the back with fingertips touching. You move your hands down as shown until finally ending in a V at the base of your spine. And in hand position 18, this is where you sit in what is known as the lotus position and hold both feet with your hands. Alright, it's time to prepare for treating others using Reiki. As a Reiki practitioner, you have an important responsibility when healing others. This is an important role and one that requires preparation to deliver the best results. And part of this preparation includes setting up an appropriate environment. It's critically important to create the right setting whenever delivering your Reiki healing session. And if you cannot provide such an environment at home, then you might look at other options, which could include hiring a consultation room in a dedicated healing center. So here's some of the things to consider when setting up your healing environment. You should make sure that the area you use is clean and tidy, it should be well lit, and there should be a feeling of well-being and safety. Another important element required to deliver effective healing is to make sure you will not be interrupted during a session by internal or external distractions. So before commencing, make sure to take a look around and have a listen to your general environment to identify anything that would affect your session. And if there is, either remove it or plan another time or place to deliver healing. And if you are healing from home, inside your own dedicated space, if you have family around, just let them know that you're about to have a session with a client and ask them to be quiet or maybe even go somewhere during the session. Now, as for your equipment, as a dedicated and professional Reiki practitioner, it's important to have and use, if possible, a dedicated therapy table. Now, it's not a big deal if you don't have one. Use an alternative solution like a comfy couch or table with some sort of cushioning on it. And another important aspect of making your clients feel comfortable is to make sure your environment is temperature controlled. You don't want them to be too cold or too hot. Now, as to the exact temperature, this will be up to you to decide, and it might be an option for you to ask your client what temperature suits them before you start. Now, as you want to offer an amazing experience, consider the colours you use and look to add some plants to your room. Another thing to add are crystals under your treatment table to help create the right energy. Now, some people love to add some ambient sound, which are gentle sounds in the background, where other people prefer to work in silence. And again, involve your client by asking them whether or not they would enjoy some relaxing background sounds. And another thing to consider is to add aroma to your healing environment. Things like incense and oils can be very pleasing to the senses. But with this, be careful, as some people may have sensitivity to these things. So again, it's important just to ask first before starting your session. And as a practitioner, be aware that when your client releases pent-up stresses or tension, they may actually cry. And this is not only a positive experience, in many cases, it's necessary for healing to occur. So just keep a box of tissues handy and offer them up as needed. Now, before you begin, ask your client to remove all of their jewellery, which includes watches, necklaces, earrings, bangles, chains and so on. And you do this because you don't want to disturb the energy flow during the session. And with your clothing, it too can also disrupt the flow of energy if it's too tight. So before your client and you meet for a healing session, ask them to make sure they arrive wearing some loose-fitting clothing that's comfortable. And this also applies to you as the practitioner who's channeling the energy. You too must make sure that you're wearing clothes that allow energy to flow freely through you. So this means no ties, no shoes, and no belts. And additionally, to deliver an amazing healing experience, it is important to let your client know that they should avoid any drugs and alcohol for at least 24 hours leading up to the session with you. You want to do everything in your control to make your client's experience a positive one. And part of this is to make sure your personal hygiene is maintained. This means making sure you appear clean and tidy and that you smell nice. And with smelling nice, this does not mean dousing yourself in strong perfumes or aftershaves. In fact, avoid using any such things when performing a treatment. And if you're a smoker, then make sure you brush your teeth, or at least use mouth freshener, as there's nothing more off-putting than smelly breath when you're in close proximity to another person. It doesn't make for a pleasant experience. And one important part of preparing is to make sure you know whether your client has a pacemaker. And if they do, you are not to proceed with the session, as the energy channeled may interfere with this device. And beyond that, never give a Reiki treatment to anyone who suffers from diabetes and are taking insulin injections, unless they are prepared to check their insulin level every day. So what do you say to someone who's having their first treatment? Well, the best course of action is to explain it in detail, the entire process from beginning to end. This includes cleansing away any negative energy through to the types of emotions and reactions they may experience. And during this explanatory period, make sure that you explain that the reactions they have are normal and expected, as this will help calm their nerves as they go into the session. Now, when you're sharing the types of reactions that they can experience, you may want to provide a pre-printed list of known reactions that they can have. Things like heightened awareness, heat, cold, colours, memory recall, involuntary movements, falling asleep, itchiness, and emotional responses of varying types, stomach upsets, pins and needles, and feeling like your hands are moving. Now, as you move through the session, often your client will experience cold sensations whilst you experience heat. And if your client mentions they're not feeling any sensations whatsoever, just explain to them that Reiki is often unnoticeable and its effects can seem very subtle, but know that they're working and are still very effective. And remind your client that Reiki goes where it's needed the most, and that they may be looking for a physical sign where in fact there may not be one. So as a practitioner, you do not need any knowledge of the human anatomy whatsoever. That said, knowing anatomy can help you explain Reiki a little better. And as for ego, it's important to leave that outside with your shoes. There's no room for it in your healing session. Let Reiki do the heavy lifting and let it be your guide. There is a great deal that you can learn through your hands about your client. So just be aware of what you're feeling and listen to your client's body through your hands. You will sense different types of energy, and it's now that you will call on all of your practice, your knowledge, and your intuition to guide your session. You are on the lookout for non-verbal communication from your client's body to guide your focus as you channel the Reiki energy. So, how long does a typical healing session take to complete? Well, on average, give or take 15 minutes either side, a normal session will take between 60 and 90 minutes, and it will actually feel like it's flown past for both of you. And when you conclude, make sure to offer your client a fresh glass of cool water to help ground them. And as for you, make sure you always run your hands under cool water to release any negative energies that may have built up in your system. It's time to go through a healing session together. And at the point you're ready to start, you go through what is known as an invocation. Now, this is where you essentially summon Reiki energy to begin flowing. Now, keep in mind that as the Reiki practitioner, you are not healing your client. They are healing themselves. Your primary role here is to channel the energy. So here's how the invocation works. This process is a gesture that symbolizes that you are giving up any claims to power, and that you are merely acting as a conduit through which the energy will flow. And when you perform this gesture, you use a prayer to begin, and that prayer should be in line with your personal beliefs. You might say something along the lines of, "As a conduit through which the universal life force is channeled, I ask that the power and the wisdom of Reiki to appear and begin to flow through me and those in my presence for their ultimate good and for their healing." Now, there is no set prayer here. You can use whatever feels natural for your situation. And as part of the invocation, run your hands around your client's aura about 6 inches above their body, from their head right down to their feet, in a smooth, free-flowing motion. And when you do this, pay special attention to any unusually hot spots that you encounter that may suggest blockages to focus on during your healing session. And do this at least 3 times to remove any unwanted energy that might be present. Not only does this clear away any negative energy, it also serves to create positive rapport between you and your client. Okay, before we move forward and begin the treatment, it's important to introduce you to auras. We all have an aura. It is in all living things. Now, your chakra, which we spoke about earlier, actually exists in all layers of your aura. Now, aura exists a few inches outside of the human body, as it does on most living things, and its range from the body increases the stronger it becomes. And in its most basic definition, aura is the energy field that surrounds any object or person. And this energy field is created by our chakras. And when we give Reiki to ourselves or to others, then this energy field is strengthened. And when we cleanse an aura, which is an important part of the treatment process, we are actively removing any negative energy from one's aura. And although some people can see a person's aura, the important part is to be able to clear negative energy. So how do we pick up negative energy that affects our aura? Well, everywhere we go, shopping malls, social gatherings, public transport, you name it, it is in these places that our aura interacts with the aura of others who may be weak, and who feed off our own aura at the subconscious level. And this explains why we can often feel tired at the end of the day. Our aura is depleted and it needs replenishing. There are many ways our aura can be affected, so this is why it's so important to regularly clean our aura and the aura of our clients. So now we know more about aura and the process of treating your client. You're now ready to begin channeling the universal life energy through to your client. And to begin, make sure that your client is lying flat on your therapy table with their arms by their sides. Now gently lay your hands on your client's body and keep them in each position previously described for between 3 to 5 minutes. And as you get better at this, as you practice, you can begin to rely more on your intuition as to how long each location requires. Be sure to cup your hands with your fingers firmly closed as though you were trying to catch water in your hands. Now, where your client has sunburn, or you're working around your client's genitals or breasts, then hold your hands just above their body in these locations. Now for hand position 1. Cup your hands and gently rest them over your client's eyes, cheekbones and forehead, which is their third eye chakra. And you focus here to address issues with stress, eye problems, asthma, head colds, allergies, sinuses, pituitary gland, pineal gland, and cerebral nerves. And for hand position 2, place your hands on top of your client's head with your palms covering their crown chakra. And you focus here to address issues with migraine, general headaches, eye problems, multiple sclerosis, stress disorders, bladder issues, digestive problems, flatulence, and emotional issues. Now on to hand position 3. And here you place your hands on either side of your client's head with your palms covering their temples. And you focus here to address issues with balance, tinnitus, hearing problems, colds, flus, and to balance the functions of the left and right side of the brain. And in hand position 4, this is where you place your hands on the back of your client's head, covering their occipital ridge. And you focus here to address issues with headaches, eye problems, stress, hay fever, sinus issues, digestive disorders, fears, phobias, shock, depression, and stroke. And in hand position 5, you place your hands along your client's jawline, covering their throat chakra. and you focus here to address issues with their self-expression, communication, breathing, voice and speech, bronchitis, flu, colds, and anger. Now, when setting up for hand position number 6, place your hands on your client's shoulders, and you focus here to address issues with aches and pains in their arms, elbows, and hands, tight shoulder muscles, stress, cold hands, and disruptions to blood supply to the hands and arms. Now, with hand positions 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12, you begin by forming the capital letter T over your client's heart chakra and collarbone. Then from there, you move your hands down across their torso, covering their solar plexus and sacral chakras. Then you move on to form a capital V to cover their root chakra. And you finally place your hands over your client's knees and feet. And you focus here to address issues with major organs and glands, diseases, infections, stomach-related complaints, intestines, reproductive system, anger, stress, emotions, leg pains, and varicose veins. Now, once you have completed these steps, then gently ask your client to turn over, remembering they may have fallen asleep because they feel relaxed and feel safe around you. And in a similar fashion to before, begin by forming a capital T, covering the heart chakra and the collarbone. Then move your hands down and across the torso, covering the solar plexus and sacral chakras. Then from there, form a V to cover the root chakra. And finally, place your hands over your client's knees and feet. And again, you focus here to address issues with major organs and glands, diseases, infections, stomach-related complaints, intestines, reproductive system, anger, stress, emotions, leg pains, and varicose veins. Now, when all locations have been treated, place your left hand on your client's crown chakra and your right hand at the base of their spine. And this final position will balance the energy in your client's body. And last, but in no way the least important step when treating your client, is to complete the treatment by combing your client's aura at least 3 times to clear away any negative energy that may have collected and been trapped during the session. And when you do this, make sure that you use firm strokes, another light stroke on the body, and finally another in the aura above your client's body. And each time you do this, make sure you touch the floor to ground your client. And you might be thinking, do you need to maintain a strict focus when performing a healing? And the answer is no. Once Reiki energy begins to flow, there is no need to maintain constant focus and concentrate wholly and solely on channeling it. In fact, you can even spend time doing other things like reading, walking, listening to music, or whatever it is you want to do. Okay, so we're now going to talk about waveforms that are found in life, and we're doing this because of what's called the ultradian rhythm technique. Now, research has shown that the human body functions in various cycles, and one of these cycles that's important to know more about is the ultradian rhythm. Now, this cycle is best explained visually, and what you can see here is that the rhythm is indicated on the chart by a measure of activity over a period of time. Now, you can see by looking at this image that as activity levels increase and we become more aroused, you move towards peak performance. And as we experience stress, we head back down towards the ultradian healing response, which normally lasts for around 20 minutes. Now, the thing to realize about the ultradian rhythm is that more often than not, we don't even realize that we must take regular short breaks to recharge our batteries. And this is where, rightly or wrongly, many of us reach for that hit of junk food or coffee to top us up so we can keep functioning. And the insight here is that if we neglect our bodies and we don't take the time out to recover, this can have a negative impact on our overall well-being, and this is where Reiki can be used to rebalance our mind, our body, and our spirit. So be alert and be on the lookout for signs that something's not right. It might be time to take that short recovery break. And when you take a break, cup your hands over your eyes and look inwards. And when you do it, send yourself some healing Reiki. And if you find that time is short, then use another quick energy boost technique, which involves the thymus gland that works on your immune system. And here's what you do. Tap gently 20 to 30 times on the area of the thymus gland, which is basically at the base of your throat. And if you desire, you can also place your hands over the area to boost your energy level and immune system. So Reiki not only works one-to-one, it's also very effective in a group setting. And this technique was first used by Dr. Hayashi at his Tokyo clinic. And some of the benefits of group session is that it is quicker, sometimes even reducing the overall treatment session down to between 6 and 10 minutes. And as you could expect, group treatment is very powerful as you have this magnified burst of energy flowing into the client. And this often kickstarts a client's natural healing process. And what you can find is that group sessions help create strong bonds between each other, which create a very unique energy that clients notice. In fact, it's not uncommon to experience different energies from different practitioners. Okay, so to deliver a group treatment session, you go through your normal preparation as described earlier. The difference here is that you must decide and agree who will work on the head positions, and as such, they will control the session. And before starting, you will also need to decide who will complete the session by smoothing the client's aura. And as you deliver your group session, there can be one practitioner working at each end and one in the middle point of the body. And you find that group sessions are great when you are in an environment where there are lots of people who are looking to experience Reiki healing. And it also presents a great opportunity to share experiences and learn together. Now, a common question is whether Reiki is safe to perform on an expectant mother and her unborn child. And the answer is absolutely yes. There are a lot of benefits for both mother and child, which includes reducing the effects of morning sickness, and it helps to reduce stress and tiredness that often go along with pregnancy. As for baby, Reiki stimulates and provides for healthy development. And on top of that, Reiki can be used to treat often very painful muscle complaints and issues with joints and the spine. And Reiki can have an important role to play in strengthening the bond between mother and baby. And it helps to keep the mind, body and spirit balanced, thus reducing the chances of postnatal depression. Reiki is also known to nourish the fetus with love and all of the benefits that come with accessing the universal life force. And if the father is a Reiki practitioner, he can assist during the pregnancy by treating his partner. And importantly, the bond between baby and father is stimulated from an early stage of development. Now, Reiki is also helpful for couples finding it difficult to conceive by reducing the stress that is sometimes present when trying to conceive, and it stimulates both the female reproductive cycle and the male sperm. And once baby is here, Reiki can be used to accelerate the recovery period, and it can be used to nourish the mother's milk or baby formula. And in turn, this helps baby sleep, which is something every new parent prays for. And in the event that you are unsure about anything to do with baby, be sure to consult your doctor. So what about Reiki and older children? Is there any benefit for them? Of course. Reiki can be used to treat your child throughout their life in the same way you use it in your own life. It's a special gift that you get to share with your children, and because they're more open to Reiki, they will experience a great deal of benefit from it. Now, as for you, when it's time to put the kids to bed, then Reiki is the key to helping them go to sleep. And when they have an accident and they cry, you can use Reiki to treat them. Now, in life, there's only a few things that are guaranteed, and that's death and taxes. Now, I'm not able to help you with your taxes, but as far as death is concerned, Reiki can help those facing their own mortality, which can be difficult to do at the best of times. Now, there are cultures out there who celebrate death, and we can learn a lot from those cultures. You have the choice to look at death as the end or the start of something new, and maybe that's eternal life at its source. I know, as you might, the pain that goes along with losing a loved one, and there are many people who choose to deny it and never acknowledge death, which I think is a mistake. In fact, Eastern philosophy views the act of dying as an essential part of living. You cannot have one without the other. And they also believe that our souls are eternal. And when someone becomes spiritual, they become more aware and they grow to understand and even accept these ancient beliefs to be true. And as we're on the topic of death, There's a book by Daniel Brinkley called Saved by the Light. And in this book, Daniel talks about his study of death and his experience with the dying, which gives him some incredible insights into death. And I highly recommend getting yourself this book if you want to know more about it. And in this book, it's reported by many people that there is an experience that when you cross over, you see it and you feel it, an out-of-body experience where you see yourself and you see your life flash by you, and you become at peace with everything that is. And this is a common experience of those who have had a near-death experience. And when Reiki is introduced and used on those who have terminal illnesses, they become connected to the unconditional love of God, and it prepares them for their transition to the other side. See, Reiki is powerful, and it can revitalize the ill so that they can first take care of any outstanding business they have in this life. And once someone you love has passed, you can call on Reiki to help heal yourself. So, if Reiki is in all living things, does that mean you can channel it to heal more than human beings? And the answer is yes, absolutely. Let's take, for example, your beloved pet. You will find that your pet adores Reiki, and they will be extremely receptive to its power as it renews them quickly, and they don't judge what makes them feel good. Now, like you, when treating animals, start on your own pets, and only after you have the experience to heal your own pets, then move on to others. So there are a few unique things to consider when treating pets. And the first is to know that there are different techniques for different animals. For example, let's say you're treating a bird, and in this case, you would cup your hands completely around it. And for larger animals, such as cats, dogs, horses, and so forth, you would treat them by placing your hands behind their ears and work around their body, as is the case with a normal full treatment for humans. And even fish can be treated by using Reiki. And you can do this by placing your hands on either side of their environment, which may be as small as a tabletop bowl or as large as an aquarium. It doesn't matter. Your channeled energy will find them. And in a similar way, if you want to heal known dangerous animals, then again, your channeled energy will find its way to them through distant healing, which is a practice at Reiki level 2, the 2nd degree. And although this is a weaker treatment option, another way to treat an animal is to treat their food and water before giving it to them. Now, if you're wondering, if Reiki is in all living things, then can you apply it to plants and vegetation? And the answer again is absolutely yes, you can. And applying Reiki in this way will result in amazingly healthy plants, flowers, trees, and garden. And to apply Reiki, you simply cup seeds or plants in your hands. And with large established trees, you can treat their water supply, or again, you can perform distant healing, which again is something you learn to do in Reiki level 2, the 2nd degree. So what about your food? Again, yes, you can treat your food in the same way that you would treat any other food. Go ahead and enrich it with the universal life force, and your digestion will improve. To treat your food and water, use a similar technique that you would use when performing any sort of treatment. Create a cup-like shape with your hands and direct the energy towards your food and water. As you can see, there are an unlimited number of ways in which you can use Reiki to heal, and you are really only limited by your imagination. This has been an incredible session, and it's been packed with so much amazing content focusing on level 1 Reiki, the 1st degree. Now, this is just the beginning of your journey, and it's time for you to practice your self-healing and do this until you are confident and your intuition tells you that you are ready to move forward. And saying that, you might find that level 1, the 1st degree of Reiki, is all you need. So again, let intuition be your guide. So now that you have completed level 1, you are now connected to the eternal, universal life force. So congratulations! You now have the tools and the knowledge to heal not only yourself, but to do the same by sharing this wonderful gift with others around you. Now you have an amazing sense of your life's true purpose, and you have renewed direction. You are calm, and you have found peace and balance in your life, in an otherwise chaotic world. Practice, use it daily, share it, embrace everything about it, and enjoy everything Reiki has to offer you.